Welcome, everyone, to the Executive Compass. This is where we get insights from B2B leaders. We'll dive into their story, how they got started, their challenges and opportunities, and how they're shaping their business for the future. For those of you who are watching, I'm Amisha Srimankar, founder of Vectra Growth Partners, and we specialize in lead generation and content marketing. Today's guest is Erick Widman, founder of Passage Immigration Law. Hey, Erick, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
I'm doing great, and it's a real pleasure to be here. Thank you, Amisha.
Yeah, and where are you calling in from?
We live in Portland, Oregon now, so our headquarters are in Portland, Oregon. I grew up in California, though, in the Bay Area, so I've got Silicon Valley in my blood and history.
Yeah, lovely. And I can't wait to unpack all of that in our conversation today. So, for our audience who's watching on the call, do you mind doing a brief introduction?
Yes, so I was born in San Jose, California, grew up in Cupertino, California, home of Apple Computer, and a couple formative experiences for me were being an exchange student in Japan for a summer. I went to UCLA and then law school and lived in Hungary after that. Best experience of my life. I met my wife in Hungary, so I taught law over there for a year, and now live in Portland, Oregon with her and our three dual citizen kids.
I love that. I love that. I'm a dual citizen myself, so I love your story. I love, that your wife went through the immigration process and you took her along those lines as well. So, as a fellow immigrant, I can relate. How did your personal experiences shape your decision to build a passage immigration law? You've got this great experience, you've lived and studied abroad, you married across borders. How did all that shape into what you do today?
Prior to that, actually, it was really helpful for me to have 5 years of experience in a big company in Philips Electronics. So I was in-house counsel there. And then my wife let me branch out on our own. We were feeling adventurous, start our own immigration firm because I started doing immigration at Philips. And then it was also a very international company. So that with living abroad and being able to relate to a lot of foreign nationals who married US citizen, and then the international context of all that just allowed me to kind of hit the ground running with my own firm.
So, if I hear you correctly, did you start the firm when you were overseas, or was it when you started here in the US?
It was back in when my wife and I quit our corporate job. So we took a big, we didn't have any kids at that point, and we were hoping to. And then we decided to move back to Europe, and I did start my firm at that point. So I had a few clients, but it was slow going. But the pressure was not on at that point. Really didn't have much in terms of fixed expenses.
Awesome. And was Hungary your choice of location at the time, or were you moving around?
Yeah, we lived there a second full year. And it was easy because that's where she's from, and I studied more Hungarian and got better at that. And I think we're going to retire there eventually. We love it, and I think it would be only fair to her because she's been over here in the U.S. with me for 25 years, so we want to spend time there too.
I love it. And her family and her roots are still there, and you guys visit, I'm sure, often.
Yes, yeah, her poor family. She's been out here. We visit for every other year. We try to do a full month or so, but
Yeah.
of course it's not the same.
Yeah. So when someone asks what does passage immigration law do, how do you explain your firm's mission, or in a simple sentence or two?
Yeah, we help foreign nationals live and work in the US, and we help businesses, families, and people seeking humanitarian help.
What kind of humanitarian help does
Yeah,
that?
well, and that encompasses asylum, TPS, and now with the current administration putting lots of people in removal proceedings, we're doing a lot of removal defense. And for example, federal court litigation, like habeas litigation there too. So yeah, quite a bit of humanitarian work in that sense now.
Okay, and take me back to what did the early days of the firm look like, and how did you know it was time to expand into, other cities, or actually when the firm started, and what was the decision that made you say it's time to go back to the US and kind of expand a little more?
Yeah, it was mainly where we wanted to raise our family, and it was easier for me and to live in the US. The opportunities are still so much bigger here in the world's largest economy, and I was licensed to practice law here, so it was the right choice for us and to build the firm here, and we liked the cost of living and the lifestyle in Portland more than very expensive Silicon Valley, so we landed here. And then I think an advantage I had is that I understood technology more than other lawyers in general. And I knew back in 2010 or so that we needed good Google reviews, and we didn't need to spend money on certain things, and it would be better to build a solid web presence, for example.
Yeah, yeah. And taking back to what did the early years look like building the firm?
Yeah, so it was just me initially, and then after probably a year, I hired a virtual assistant, and then an in-person assistant, and it's not like we've grown exponentially over the last 15 years or so, but we have 4 attorneys now, and about 10 people total, and trying to figure out the sweet spot for profitability and stability. It's not easy. I think after experiencing how hard it is to run your own business, I feel like this whole endeavor is just like, it's pretty heroic.
Yeah.
Being in-house counsel was easier. Don't tell them, but it's just, you have a job and you got PTO and resources. It's easier, but of course we chose this path because it's potentially, it's more rewarding, more autonomy and satisfying.
Yeah. And you work across both family and business immigration. Is that right?
Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we have attorneys who specialize in those things, but yeah, we do both.
Yeah. And how did you decide on that mix? And what is your current client portfolio, if you care to share? What does that look like in terms of individuals versus employers?
Yeah, for me, my favorite types of cases are still family immigration. Even though I worked in a business, I just love it when people meet their special someone from another country, and I can completely relate to feeling sad when you're separated and the challenges there, and trying to maybe get a visa for your mother-in-law or your parent. And so I naturally gravitate towards those cases, but immigrants and businesses need employment-based immigration help. And so we do that, and H-1Bs and E-2 investor visas and Ls. There's also this international student pathway, H-1B and more, like the EB-3 employment-based green card. We have a couple attorneys who do these cases, and that's tough. All of U.S. immigration is tricky.
Yeah.
And counterintuitive, but business immigration is almost more so by design.
Yeah, I mean, as you rightly said, especially in the times that we live right now. So yeah, so tell me, I'm under the impression that Passage Law isn't just, you don't just have an office in Portland, you have multiple offices. Is it in Portland or outside the state, or what does that look like?
Yeah, I think it was right before COVID, we decided to open up 2 little satellite offices in Los Angeles and Seattle. And our attorney David is based up in Seattle, and we just meet clients in person there when needed, trying to keep the cost of rent down. And with the West Coast being so big and dynamic, I feel like that can be our focus for a while. We'll see how much we continue to expand, maybe East Coast and maybe an office in Budapest, but we made sense in the same time zone right here in the West Coast, Pacific time. We are able to serve clients here pretty well. We also have people in other states too. It doesn't matter too much because it's a federal practice area. It doesn't require a license in every single state. But yeah, we've got the West Coast covered.
Love it. So as a business owner, what have been the key decisions or shifts that helped you move from solo practitioner to running a true, multi-city firm?
Learning, and it's so hard and I'm so imperfect at it, but doing one's best as a boss, employer, and learning how to cultivate employees to find out what they want, how they will grow, and how basically that Venn diagram, what the firm needs and what they need. So doing my best to be a good manager and helping people thrive as a legal assistant or an attorney in the firm, that's an ongoing process. Figuring out how to be a good boss, but just going for it and working through conflict, working through the cash flow challenges, because people are expensive, and in Portland they keep raising taxes. They don't make it easy. So figuring out who we can afford, what their role is, and trying to be thoughtful about the time they need off versus the needs in the firm. It's a tough balance quite often.
Yeah, no, I can hear you on that. It's tough when you have so many team members and you're kind of responsible for them to make sure that not only are they thriving and happy and they like coming to work, right? I mean, with the job as demanding as being a lawyer. When you think about growth in this year in 2026, and what does smart growth look like for you? Is it more locations, new practice areas, maybe deeper specialization, or something else entirely?
Yeah, I have vacillated somewhat between how important it is to be in person. So under COVID, we were remote like everybody else. And that worked pretty well. As knowledge workers, we can do a lot here on video and email and Google Docs, etc. But we were missing out on really important in-person collaboration, training the new team members, young and old. And I've also experimented with international team members, and Lily's been amazing for us. She's based in Argentina, it's easiest and best if you're in person and you can train people faster, but that's the most expensive way to go. And so, yeah, in terms of what does it look like, it might be remote work. We have two offices now in Portland. And so we meet clients in a place right across from USCIS. But I am not completely certain. Rent is expensive and people are expensive. And of course, I'm sure we'll talk about AI and what that might look like and how that will likely help us too.
Yeah. So let's switch tracks to a little bit more about your clients and how they come in. And what does a typical client journey look like for your firm from maybe first contact to a signed engagement?
Yeah, so we have HubSpot. We got invested in that. So we're just a 10-person firm, but we have a lot of people that come in through our good Google reviews and
Okay.
then call us or go to our website and submit the form. And I like HubSpot a lot. I've tried a couple different tools over the years. It's the best one. It's not perfect, but it's really good. Potential client. We love referrals from happy clients or family members, right? It's more of a warm handoff, but they're also based upon seeing good reviews. They're more interested in hiring us from the get-go. It's not like we have to do a lot to persuade them. So, but they call us up, they submit a form, and then right now we're offering either a free 10-minute consultation and just a quick overview so an attorney it's high value. So we find out, we get input, we give them some pointers, and then there's also a paid consultation option if they want 30 minutes or 45 minutes. I've experimented with a whole bunch of different intake options, and we've settled on this because some people will say, oh, just let me talk to an attorney for a couple minutes. We're like, okay, we're good with that. But if they need half an hour or 45 minutes, like most people do, we charge for that.
Yeah, smart. And if you think about your best fit clients, what do they appreciate the most about working with Passage compared to a more traditional, or if there is such a thing as a purely local immigration firm? Is there a difference?
Yeah, well, I think the majority are flat fees, but for a long time, lawyers were holding on to the billable hour. But a lot of people really appreciate that they know the price up front. We can quote that. So that's one key thing. Again, things have changed a lot. I think in our direction, like 15 years ago, it was remarkable that we could do everything in the cloud. But now it's pretty common that we have an upload folder. I think most law firms have this now. You have an online upload folder, just like your CPA. But they do that, and we make ourselves accessible over video, which I think is the best of both worlds because you get that almost like in-person communication.
Yeah.
You cut out the commute, you cut out the getting stuck in traffic. So I feel like those key tools, the communication and the both upload and talking to your lawyer approach is pretty good.
You described yourself as an AI optimist and talked about experimenting with AI-driven intake. What are you most excited to apply? Where are you most excited to apply AI inside the firm right now or in the near term?
Yes. Yeah, it's fun. My 16-year-old son, he's kind of an AI pessimist for whatever reason. It's more cool to think, the models will stop improving. And to me, though, and my experience, the biggest game changers was the summaries of meetings where they record it and then it's so helpful and a time saving. I know doctors do this a lot now too. You used to have a scribe or like a typist person, but the AI notes are so good and they summarize things so well that has been a big leap forward. And then when clients upload documents, and of course it's got to all be secure and we're only using tools. I trust Gemini, for example. I trust Claude, but there's a few others. We look at we make sure that everything is in compliance with state bar rules. So that's fundamental. To upload PDFs and have it pull information from that is really helpful because clients want to talk to the lawyer and the attorneys don't want to spend time doing drudgery work, copying and pasting over A numbers or social security numbers. So it moves us to a higher value type of work where we communicate with clients and brainstorm and talk strategy and reassure them about the strategy.
Yeah. And on the flip side, kind of like, echoing what your son feels, what parts of immigration law and client service do you believe should never be fully automated, no matter how good the tools get?
Yeah, well, there's just like the doomsday scenario predictions where it suddenly starts emailing out things, or you could submit something to the government that you shouldn't. If you don't control the output, the communication, especially, and you're not overseeing it properly, I'm sure hallucination has not gone away. You got to double check things, and then so yeah, that you could create big problems, commit malpractice. And yeah, be in big trouble if you delegate too much without proper oversight. And then similarly, if you are allowing, if a client, for example, discloses something on an AI bot, that waives attorney-client privilege. That recent decision came out about this. So there's things like this we got to coach our clients about what to do and what not to do as well.
Yeah, yeah. And coming from a Silicon Valley background and loving tech, how do you evaluate which tools to adopt versus what just might be a distraction? Is that something you personally undertake in the firm, or your other partners come up to you and say, hey, we should try this? Like, is there a designated tech person or a tech adopter, if you will? Yeah.
It's me by default because I like it.
Yeah.
And I've learned over the years, though, that the bright, shiny object, well, it can be distracting, but there's a lot of good marketing out there that's hype and fluff, and these companies go away after they say, I've got this cool new thing. So I've settled on companies that are a few years old, typically, for practice management systems. And for example, we use Clio, and there's others out there that they'd say, oh, we do this better than Clio. But Clio's been around, I think, now for 15, 20 years, and they keep innovating, and it's solid and reliable. So I'm a fan of what they're doing for billing and now AI and everything. But there's a lot of promises, and then things just don't follow through. And we use Google as well as our foundation, and that they're very reliable.
Of course, yes. So Erick, looking at the next 12 months or even the remainder of this year, what are the biggest opportunities you're most excited about for your clients, A, and B, for Passage as a business?
It is a really important time to be a immigration lawyer and a lawyer in general. So U.S. society is very polarized, and we thankfully have a really great foundation in the country, which we can't take for granted. But the judicial system is rock solid, and both sides of the political spectrum need to be able to count on it. The conservative people need to get relief there when they're being treated unfairly, same with liberals and immigrants and everybody else. So clients right now, immigrants need to know that the U.S. welcomes them, and we should. And again, it's very politicized, but our country is way better off when we make people feel welcome and we lay out what the rules are. I'm not going to tread into political territory right here, but our economic system is unfair to immigrants because we need them for our economy. Many businesses want people to sneak across the border and work for them, right? And so it's unfair that we invite people, essentially hire them, and then vilify them and deport them. So it's a really dysfunctional system. We need rule of law. We also need immigrants. We need to be welcoming, and we need to protect human rights. So immigrants need to know they have rights, and people of color need to know that they cannot and should not be discriminated against. And white guys like me need to be aware of issues like this. So for clients, it's kind of become a big human rights issue these days. There's a lot of issues. But I hope my clients will not hide out, but seek good help, good counsel. There are good lawyers out there, obviously, And then, yeah, for the firm to provide a wonderful place to work for people, employees, and provide for their families. I feel like it's a dual mission that we serve immigrants, and then I have to, and the leadership team, we serve employees. So that's our dual mission.
Yeah. So every good firm has at least one good problem or it's trying to solve. What's one challenge, whether it's capacity, visibility, hiring, or operations, that if you cracked it would really accelerate your growth in 2026?
I think client communications, and so a challenge is finding enough time to reply to all the emails and to give clients what they want and deserve, charge enough but not too much. And so the challenge is that people want to talk to us all the time. And so I'm optimistic that AI can help us communicate more effectively by saying, okay, here's a summary of the documents we've given us, and it'll just do that quick. And then confirming the next steps, right? So that email support, which is it's endless and it's so important. But then it allows me to talk to, if my time's freed up from not emailing all day long, I can talk to people and reinforce the strategy.
Yeah. And when you think 5 years ahead, what does success look like for you personally and for Passage Immigration Law?
Yeah, well, I'd love to have my kids work in the law firm. That would be cool. There'll be a couple of them be out of college at that point. That would be fun. I think if we can stand up for human rights, make immigrants feel welcome, and provide a really stable, wonderful place for employees to work, I'll feel really good.
Thank you. And I think that's a very good note to end. Erick, this has been a wonderful conversation. Thank you for coming on to the show and sharing about everything that you do and how you are, building your business and making an impact in the community, especially in the American community, because what you do is so much needed right now.
Well, thank you, Amisha. Yeah, you asked great questions. You one after the other. You kept it action-packed.
Thank you. That's my job. All right. I am going to end our conversation, but thanks again. And for everyone who's watching, drop your comments and let us know what you think.
Thank you.